Hello and welcome to Jamie TV. I trust that you're very well and groovy, and thank you very much for watching. Recently I made quite a few videos about NuRack, the very popular and very excellent modular effects app for iOS. Now I could keep on going, there's just so much depth to it, you get so many modules, you just get an incredible amount of musical possibilities for your money. But at some point I have to break off because there are many other things waiting for me to make videos about. So I'm going to make this the last one, at least for a little while. And today we are going to have a look at the vocoder. I guess I better explain how NuRack's vocoder needs to be set up. So here we are in a new project in Elm. I just have one channel set up, and that's for my microphone so that I can speak to you. You can more or less ignore that. I will be using a different microphone input to get my singing voice into the vocoder. The first job that I need to do is to go here, add an audio track, jump into the effects slot, audio unit extension, and bob down to the 4-pocket stuff where we're going to select the MIDI version of NuRack, because NuRack is going to need to receive, I've gone past it, it's this mouse, it's a little frisky. NuRack is going to need to receive MIDI information from my keyboard, so we jump into the little burger icon and select this here, because my MIDI keyboard is plugged into my iTrack dock. That's the one we want. Next we're going to add another channel to get the microphone that I'm using for the vocoder into NuRack. So we go here, audio, up to the top, hardware input, and my microphone is plugged into the right hand microphone port of the iTrack dock. So we select that, and then we go to the effects slot, multi-bus audio unit instances, NuRack effects. Now you'll see here, if I come over here to the left, we've got two little numbers here, and what this means is this is input bus 2 of NuRack, output bus 2. That will make sense in a moment. Now let's go to NuRack, and we're going to load up the module that I built for vocodering with, which I called RoboGob. There we go. So as you can see, I chose a few different modules that I wanted to create this effect with, bolted them together and made them look really cool. But for explaining how the vocoder works, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to come out of build mode and into the connections mode, because I want you to be able to see a bit more clearly what the vocoder is all about. And the first thing that I want to do is to explain the routing. So let's just come in close to the vocoder. Now you'll see here that the vocoder wants to receive the microphone input on bus B. So that is what's going on over here. The microphone is coming in here, it hits this multi audio unit bus thingy majobby, whatever, I think I've said that slightly wrong. And from there the microphone signal is then sent to NuRack here, so it doesn't come down this channel at all. In fact, we can just swipe this to the left because nothing's coming out of this channel. So the microphone comes in here and the vocal sound is sent to NuRack here, where it comes in on bus B and is blended with whatever you're using to modulate the sound with. In this case we're using this great module that Paul's built into NuRack, the analog sawtooth synth, which is the ideal synth to create these kind of vocodery type noises. So zooming out a little, let me just show you what I have in my module here. So we've got the synth, and then we've got the vocoder, and then we've got a gain control because I want to boost the signal up a little, and then we've got some vintage meters just to make things look cool, and then we've got a delay and a reverb, which speak for themselves. So now that we understand how to wire the vocoder up, as it were, let's have a look at how it actually works. We'll zoom in on just the vocoder, and we'll take a look at the controls. Working from left to right, the input gain determines how much signal we are receiving into the vocoder from your actual sound source. Of course, you don't need to use the sawtooth synth that comes with NuRack for this purpose, although I would say that it is the perfect kind of synth for creating typical vocoder type sounds. What you could do is you could have the vocoder as the first thing in the chain in your module, and you could insert a synth of your own choice up here, and you can play it with a MIDI keyboard, or you could have something like DigiKeys programmed with some MIDI to play it back for you, so you can focus just on making robot noises with your voice. So let's have a listen to the vocoder with the settings left just the way I left them the last time I used it. Okay, so those settings are just what I left, in NuRack last time I used it. So let's have a look at some of the other controls. The bandwidth is very interesting. The bandwidth basically drops the quality down to a much more kind of lo-fi digitized kind of a sound when you move it towards the left, and to the right is obviously a little more hi-fi. I just had this thought, actually maybe what I should have done is I should have perhaps switched off the delay and the reverb so that you can hear the vocoder and exactly how it sounds a little bit more clearly. So from here on I'll leave it off for a little while so that you can hear that. Now the mutate control. The best way I can describe this is when you wind it all the way around to the left, it sounds very roboty, and when you turn it all the way around to the right, it sounds very alien-y. Well, that's what I think anyway. I'll demonstrate it to you, see what you think. I'm going to start off roboty. I have to say, as much fun as the alien voice is, I do really love playing around with the more robotic kind of sounds. So I'm just going to whack this control round to here. For me, the most interesting setting in this vocoder, and where the magic really particularly lies with this module, is in the smoothing control. A lower setting like this will make the vocal articulations be more broken up and separated, and winding it round to a higher setting will, as the name of the control suggests, smooth things out more. Let me demonstrate that for you. The mix control is something I would only ever use turned all the way up, because the more you turn it around to the left, the more of my natural voice would creep in and the quieter the vocoder would get. Now bear in mind, right now I'm speaking into my narration mic, so you're not hearing the effect. So let me just mute that and demonstrate that for you. Now if I just start talking stupid old hippie crap the way that I do, and gradually turn this up, you will hear what I mean.
And there we go, back to robot voices.
The noddy way of explaining what a vocoder does is it analyses the sound of the human voice coming in, and it splits it up into different frequency bands. Now, depending how many bands it splits it into will greatly affect the sound of the vocoder. And this vocoder has 4 different selections for vocoder bands. So let me just play you something and I'll change through those settings so you can hear what difference it makes.
A state of grace, a state of mind, a point in space, or a point in time. In time of peace, in time of war, the self-same goal that we yearn for. Some have it all, and some have less. What we all need is happiness.
I have had so much fun making this video. This module has just been so enjoyable to play around with. I could sit in here all day making silly robot noises and never get bored. It's just great. It sounds wonderful. It's easy to use. And I think, you know, this is something that's too easily lost sight of when you get really into making music. Sometimes we get a little bit lost in the technicalities, or you know, the figures and the formulas, the business. You know, I mean, it shouldn't matter whether you make music purely for enjoyment or whether you're a full-time professional, like I'm supposed to be. You know, if you lose sight of the fun aspect of it, then it's time to give over. And I don't know what it is about making music with mobile devices, but for me, making music, being creative on my iPad and sometimes my iPhone, it's really put that passion and energy back into being creative for me. So, you know, a NuRack has really contributed to that, because for not a lot of money at all, you get loads and loads of musical possibilities. There's all these modules to explore, and they've really opened a lot of doors for me. So I hope that I've explained the vocoder sufficiently well to you. If you do have any questions, then do feel free to contact me on my email address, which is down below the video, or any of my social media. All my links are down there. You know where to get me. And don't forget, check out my Patreon if you fancy maybe getting a few downloads from me, like this module that I've been playing around with in this video. So until next time,
Thank you for watching. Please take care of yourselves and don't piss your pants about.